Here we go. Before we begin, sponsor mentions from some of our great supporters. First off, Muck Off, a brand new one. Finest in care for your finest possessions. That is right. You must take care of your bikes or they will not only look badly, but perform badly. Muck Off makes it so easy from tubeless setup to lube and cleaning tools and liquids. Muck Off will clean your keep things rolling so smoothly. Get over to smooth like butter. I just thought of that. Sorry, sometimes the demons win out. Get over to their website today by using the link at packfiller.com and get 15% off your first order today. Next off, Camelback hydration packs, bottles in steel and titanium, which a bike-based steel or titanium bottle would be really good for like those Broca thing, but I don't imagine them having a huge application in the road and mountain world, but they probably look really cool. Along with the brilliant original podium design that outdoes any dispensing process I have ever found. You know what you need, and Camelback has just the thing. Use the link. And finally, NordVPN. That is right. After praising their name of all the glory that is watching bike races online, NordVPN is on board with the Pack Filler. Trick the internet into allowing you to watch all of racing online. You still can. You don't have to go to the other subscription models. But anyway, I go off on a track. I'm like Donald Trump. I just find something shiny and I start talking about it. Huge. I'm going to talk like I got a squeeze box here. Secure and consistent VPN connection. Trust us, we are all NordVPN believers here. Use our link at Packfiller to get started. David, do you use it?
Yours, yes.
You do? Oh, yeah, that's what we were saying the other night. That just like I bought it and 5 people use it.
Yeah, I actually used it because you can't access like the EMR that I used from. I was in Florida.
Oh yeah,
and last week or whatever, and you can't access charts from another time zone unless you're using a VPN.
No shit.
Yeah, so I was pointing myself back to the Northwest.
Real world applications, not just watching bike races.
Huh. Yeah. There's other reasons for that.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Yep. Yeah, and it's super secure. So I guess that pays off really well in the long term. Yeah. It is. Yeah. They say it is. Don't talk bad about the sponsor, Pat. Shut the fuck up, Pat. Let's play bikes. Let's start out by saying this. Yes, we will be talking about the helmets. We will. Welcome to the longest running cycling podcast in the history of cycling podcasts. The one that comes to you live every week from a group of bike dorks drinking in a bar. The one that is like a ride with friends, but one of us is an asshole. This is the Packfiller Cycling Podcast live from the Rim Break Bar. I am Pat Bulger. We are here on YouTube as well as packfiller.com. Let us see who is here with tonight's prologue question. You ready for this one? What is a nickname you earned in your lifetime, and how or what was the circumstance in which it was earned? I should also put a little end in there. Did you like that nickname? Because a lot of times you get, like, I don't know a whole lot of people who've picked their own nicknames, but why would you pick your own nickname? That's lame. Sorry, there's something in my eye. Yeah. So nickname you earned, and how was it earned? So first off, he's Aero because he focuses on it. Damn it, Mr. Paul Main, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah, and second introduction I've done with Aero, but there's a reason for it.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
I know your system.
Okay, you know.
Yeah, I'm not
afraid.
I'm not afraid here.
Okay. What's a nickname you've earned, and how did you earn it?
I had tons growing up, and I'll just be real quick. Chow mein.
I like that.
Maynard.
Yeah.
And I had mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
But the one that stuck quite a bit for the cycling, and I always know they're cycling people when I first started riding, is mangy.
Mangy. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna.
That was the one, and that was done by my coach Tom Ramsey.
How did that?
I had really long hair.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Like to see that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll show you some pictures sometime.
Bring up a photo of that one. Creepy.
I'll put the black bar over the.
Okay, that's what I was worried about.
Because it wasn't head hair.
I put beads in it.
Yeah. Next off, he's Aero because he's low profile.
Oh.
Dr. David Waples. How are you, man?
Yeah, knew that was coming.
Well, your bar stool's pretty high.
Yeah, I do that on purpose.
It's out of love. What's a nickname you've been given?
The one I've had the longest is Big D.
Nice.
From your wife?
Sweet.
Good night, everyone.
Actually, it started at birth from my mom. Yeah, my mom gave me that nickname.
Oh, okay.
So, it was, some history. Actually, I don't really know.
We have
where
a couch over here. Would you like to lay out and tell us everything?
I think you all can probably imagine
Yeah.
where I earned that one. It started from Big Dave, and then
Oh.
shortened to Big D, and then.
Okay.
But also, I got waffles a lot growing up, and I hated it. And then in residency, one of the front desk people imagined an H after the P in Waples, and then they started telling all my patients that my name was Dr. Waffles, and then that is what people call me at work. Waffles.
They call you Dr. Waffles.
No, just waffles.
Just waffles.
Colleagues just say waffles now, and then patients still occasionally will say, "Oh, it's Dr. Waffles." I'm like, "Sure, that works.
Really?
You got the W, close enough."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm tired of fighting that fight.
Yeah, a lot of nicknames are. Yeah, you're not really happy with them in the long run. So
Waffles are good though.
they are good.
Yeah, you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Belgian
A
waffles.
proper waffle. Yeah, the homemade ones. Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't mind that.
Next off, he's Aero because his bike body and kit are Aero. Mr. Jackson Bulger, how are you, man?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I can think of some of the nicknames that you've been given over your life, and some of the ones you didn't like, and none of them, Well, anyway,
Yeah.
what do you got?
I in college was called J Bulge because if you look at my Instagram, that's what my name is on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's
Oh.
JBulge16. So
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a
I just
bent
got
rod
that.
thing.
what?
Yeah.
The J bolt is not a bent rod thing.
No,
Peyronie's
no.
disease.
No, we're good.
All right.
We're good
Let's
there.
clarify that.
Yeah. real important that one. No, but I was fine with that one. Yeah,
That's a good one.
yeah.
Somebody in a deli should make a sandwich called Peyronie's.
Peronis.
That sounds
Yeah,
like a
just bend
heavily meaty, like a lot of
Yeah.
different, Italian meats,
You
smoked meats.
right
Yeah.
before you hand it to him, you bend it.
Yeah.
You hand it to him.
You'd have like a curved
Yeah.
bun it'd
Yeah.
sit on. Yeah.
Well, maybe at the Pack Filler Cafe someday.
Should
Yeah.
sell some sandwiches.
Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
sell some sandwiches. Me, I'm Aero in a tailwind. I'm simply huge, and my name's Pat Bulger. It's kind of like yours, Jackson, but my friends were apparently far more cruel. I was Jimmy the Bulge.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
Jimmy
first
the Bulge.
yeah, my first name's James, just like Jackson's. And Bulge, just kind of
Yeah.
magically appears. Wow, that has double meaning. But and everybody gets Bulge in our family as a nickname, whether you want it or not. And so that's what you're stuck with.
What about Maggie? How do I use that with because I work with her, Maggie Bulger.
You can call her Bulge. I bet people call her that.
Yeah.
I
100%.
You should ask her if that's. This is my cousin for people who don't know what we're talking about. But yeah, I would imagine that people would know. I mean, she'd be used to it by now.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll
My
yell it
sister had a
across the
shirt,
clinic.
but they use BULG.
Oh,
Bulge.
that's Bulg.
It's Bulge, but the G can be soft.
I don't know why. I feel like you need
Bulge
an
can
E
be
in there.
soft.
I prefer it spelled with an E in case anybody's curious.
Yeah, just go for it. Exactly. That's my thing, too. Here we are, the show, gentlemen. I always open the show, forget the prologue question, but we always open the show with how's your cycling life? How is everybody's life going on? Let's just start with David, because we haven't had you for, 3 weeks?
Has it been 3 weeks?
I think so.
Good Lord.
I know there was some health concerns. There was some travel.
Vacations.
I was last week I was in
Florida.
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 Yeah, I had a few days off, so I went down there and visited a friend. But yes, there was an interruption there. No, I was just working. I don't think I was sick.
Really?
Yeah, I was just working.
Oh, okay.
It's been mediocre. Maybe 3 days a week. But I've got the Tri-Cities Gravel Grand Fondo this Sunday. It's 85 miles. So, that's probably going to do something for me. And I just bought a new gravel bike.
It was, and it is a rolling work of art.
It is
a very pretty
rolling
thing,
work.
even
It's
though it's flat black.
I know. I wish I could have got some color, but
Yeah.
it's beautiful. The 3T Race Max, so that's going to motivate me to pedal hard this weekend, and then hopefully launch me into fitness for the year.
Are you serious? At 85? this is a question I was going to ask a little later, but I'll ask this to everybody individually. What's your longest training session you've done since fall?
Well, once I got on the trainer, I haven't been outside yet.
No, what's your longest session even on the trainer?
On the trainer, hour and a half.
Holy
Yeah.
shit
And
stinks.
so-
You're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday is probably going to be the first time I ride outside because it's like 55 down there and it still hasn't gone above 50 here. So I'm not riding outside if it's not above 50 here.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's probably going to hop on a brand new bike
Oh my God.
and go ride 85 miles it's a Grand Fondo, what's the big deal? If I have to slow down, I'll slow down, but
No, you won't.
yeah. I'll just break every bone,
Yeah.
every tendon in my body.
Do we have full permission to put, quote, what's the big deal on your headstone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting
Hold
at.
my beer. Oh my
I'm
God.
only going to come out of this stronger. That's my
What
thought.
doesn't kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good
So-
luck, man.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Wish somebody would come.
I was thinking about it, and then I thought to myself, that's next weekend.
Yeah.
That's 85 miles.
It's a long ways to go.
No
Gravel.
effing way.
Yeah, a lot of gravel and climbing too.
Oh, wow.
So,
Well, everybody will be hurting, I guess.
yeah.
Paul, how's your cycling life?
Shit.
Yeah.
All right, Jack.
Yeah,
No.
that's about it. The weekend was shot, right?
Yeah.
We had bad weather, and
Can I blame the snow on you? Because
Yeah.
you were like, hey, we're riding Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I opened up the blinds and I looked outside and went, oh no, there's no way.
sucked.
Yeah.
It's like the best snow of the year right now in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's
That doesn't
fucking
affect
March.
me at all.
I know, it just sucks. It's like I want to go outside now.
Well, we have to think positive in that maybe our July won't be smoky.
Yeah.
That's true.
We have to think that way because I'm sick of this shit.
I don't know. I'm hopefully making the prediction. I said it yesterday, but hopefully this is going to be the last snow of the year because I'm looking at it now
Yeah,
and
look at
it's
Saturday.
only going up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saturday we're at, I'm in centigrade. So 9, I think it was 9 centigrade, which is just
Your
around
weather
50.
app is in centigrade.
Yeah.
When do you go outside? How many of those?
If
little
it's
numbers?
above 1 degree, it's like 33, 34 degrees. I'll go
Miserable.
outside.
What?
Unless it's icy and snow. I mean, even if it's
Clear roads.
1 degree, yeah, it's got to be clear roads. And like even trying to ride to work, that's
And
the
a
only
shoulder.
time I get any bike riding.
Yeah.
But like even this morning, woke up and I thought, oh, that's fine. You look in the shadows, and
It's
there's
slick.
ice.
It's slick. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
it's
God,
bad.
no.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Jackson, how's your cycling life?
Pretty good.
There goes those cards straight to the chest.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. My training rides are beginning to lengthen in time. Winding it up for what's 5, 6, 7, 4 days away. 4 days and a month away from our first. No, probably like
I'm not
6
counting.
days. 6
Oh.
days.
Listening.
La, la, la,
36 days away from our first race
Oh.
here in Spokane, Washington.
What is that one?
That is
Twilight
our
Series.
first Twilight Series.
Right?
April 11th.
If only you guys were going to do these Grand Fondos, you might be ready.
Did I mention that it was 2 days after my heart ablation?
There is that.
I'm doing it.
Better.
I'm going to be there on the line. Bring it.
Yeah.
No,
But by
I'm
that
not.
time,
And
you
bring
know.
some blood just in case he bleeds out.
Yeah.
in a car battery.
Yeah, and a car battery. Yeah.
But by that time, you know, I think we'll be riding outside a good bit. So
Yeah.
I think we'll be primed and ready. Nobody's really going to be that ready by April 11th
Who
anyways.
is? Yeah, exactly.
Wait,
Yeah.
when is the Ephrata Grand Fondo?
It's the same day as Holy Sunday. It's
which is
Paris-Roubaix. Yeah.
7th of April.
Oh,
Seventh.
okay.
That's the day before my heart ablation. What a way to go out.
At the Grand Fondo.
No. Watching Paris-Roubaix.
Nice.
Did you have anything to drink last night, sir?
Oh.
Maybe.
No.
No, because I will be finished drinking by 8 a.m.
That's right.
Yeah.
Classic.
Jackson, what's your longest training session you've had this winter?
This winter, I have gone for an hour and 8 minutes, I think.
That's wow. Paul?
Why 8 minutes?
I think
That was just what my
hour
trainer
30,
ride was.
hour 35 or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
What about you?
I had a good week. First of all, I had No, it's my turn. It's my turn to find. I got 4 rides in. I got 2 strength training days. I did 480 squats today because I'm still doing that challenge because I only do it on days that I'm at work. Nice. And had my first physical therapy session at Tailwind last night. And I will talk about the fact that my longest training session was so far this year has been 2.5 hours on the trainer. I did that. Did I do that on Sunday? No, I did 2 hours on Sunday. And Sam is just texting us.
I know.
Why?
I put
why are you
mine
here?
on silent.
Don't go to Hawaii, loser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we still had the old app where you could just call us, but we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
The PT is, and my shoulders that I've talked about. I finally got the go ahead hopefully from my insurance plan. Please don't bill me personally. To go in and get physical therapy on my shoulders, and I had never have. Am I the only one who's never done physical therapy in their lives?
So I'm 24.
Yeah, I don't know if you forgot this, but he's 20. I'm 31. I mean,
You haven't?
I went in high school because they did free PT on us.
Okay.
For I had knee pain.
Is this an old man's thing?
Yes.
Shit.
Mine was from my torn hamstring.
Okay.
Crash. And what was another one? I've had back issues too, but they're QL.
I didn't know that this was an old man's game. Now I feel.
Did you
completely
see
different about it.
anybody younger than you there?
The person who worked on me.
Is 40 old? Because I was 40 when I tore my hamstring.
No, 40 is not old.
Okay. So it's not. Then no, it's not an old man.
It was an interesting experience because it was completely uncharted territory, and the first episode what's on my mind was a lot of question and answering, which I'm glad. Obviously, you're kind of getting bearings of what I need to do and what is wrong. And this is something. The reason why I'm going into extent on this is something we as cyclists have a problem with. First of all, if I were to take off my shirt right now, it's better than it was. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that to you guys. Even on audio, you'd hear the screams from miles away. I had the cup thing, and then she also did some physical scraping on my pectoralis muscles where it joins into the shoulder with a metal kind of dull-edged rounded scraper to kind of actually cause blood flow, encourage blood flow. And I don't know the technical terms of it, but it was interesting process. I looked like I got attacked by people with sticks.
Did it hurt?
Yeah, a little bit. No, not that much actually. I mean, it was. I felt it, and I especially felt it when I was trying to sleep last night, because I think everything was in some kind of a shock system. But it's interesting how we as bike racers, especially long-term bike racers, we hunch our shoulders. Mm-hmm. Our shoulders are hunched forward. Yeah. We think we walk around like this all day, and my pecs from it are very tight.
My back feels like shit now that you're talking
about
it.
Yeah, are very tight because of probably years of doing that and bringing my arms forward and Aero and stuff like that. And so the bulk of the physical therapy is going to be loosening up and stretching out my shoulders to go wider to help encourage the protection of the areas that's calcified. So it's going to be a really interesting process, and I do want to say that I was really impressed with the person who was helping me out, and she was very open to explanation. She was using a lot of terms that I didn't really understand, but I still felt kind of cool pretending I did. And when I took off my shirt, she didn't scream.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Right?
Wow.
Which is a lot because,
Did you tip her?
thanks for not screaming. Here's
I
a
didn't
$5.
know that here. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. She's like, I don't take tips. But
I would like to add the caveat that I do think that a lot of professional athletes do engage in physical therapy.
Yeah.
Quite frequently, massage, physical therapy, all sorts of
Sure.
because it's their job. It's that when you are trying to ride and race and train and maintain a job, the last thing you want to do is go to PT. It takes so much time.
It is. I'm
It takes
going
time off the bike.
It's
Yeah.
it's 2 days a week for 6 weeks, an hour a session.
It's hard to get people that have so much going on to go to PT. I mean, I deal with it all day long. I try to tell people, you know what would really help this? Physical therapy. And I don't want to do that. Can't you just give me a pill?
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah. Well, and I was prescribed some exercises, things like that. A lot of stuff that I've kind of already been doing, resistant band training and stuff like that. I'm the classic person who's now got to hook the rubber band to the doorway and do the which I consider the oldest man thing in the world to do.
Yeah.
I got to get up at 5 a.m. and do it, just to be like the true old man.
Like Jerry Seinfeld's.
Yeah, that's what I keep thinking of. It's the dad and doing it in the morning. So, oh my God. But hey, if it helps, and she asked me what my goal out of all this is. And I said, a night where I can sleep through and not have, no, seriously, the pain, because I'm a side sleeper, the pain wakes me up on both sides. And I have to roll over and it's a, kind of a thing. That, and I want to be able to come back from a hard, bouncy, rough road ride and be able to lift my bike into the house here. Because I'll get home and I'll be like, oh shit, this hurts. But it doesn't affect cycling, but it affects before and after. So there we go. Let's switch gears to catch up on all things in last week's headlines. Where's the news, Pat? Stupid son of a bitch. Too late. I couldn't find it. With all this week's headlines, let's just call it backpedaling. Brought to us by our friends at Scratch Labs, the finest in race and training, nutrition, and so much more. Easy on the gut, quick to digest, and flavors that keep you coming back for more. Use that link, please. Packfiller.com. I don't care what the purists are saying. The first monument of the season took place last weekend at Strada Bianca. No.
I'll be silent.
Okay. If you're an American without the funds to subscribe to the methods of watching bike racing, or if your name's David Waples, chances are you don't know that the men's day was won in grand fashion by the one and only Tadej Pogacar, attacking with 80 kilometers to go in a total Babe Ruthian style attack. Before he started the race, he was interviewed, and the person interviewing asked him when he was going to attack, and he said when he was going to attack, and he attacked there.
Wait, so can you just explain how that's Babe Ruthian? We're talking about
Babe
baseball?
Ruth calling his shots, pointing to the outfield.
The legend is that he would point out the outfield where he's going to hit the home run.
Hand through everything.
And then, I'm sorry, it's baseball.
No,
baseball.
I'm saying I got to hold
And
David's
so-
fucking hand, not yours.
No, all right.
Yeah.
And then he would hit it, supposedly hit it. out
Okay,
there,
so he called. I get it. Cool. All
Yeah,
right,
that
sorry.
Called the shots.
because the Mont Saint Maria is where he attacked and won the first time, but that was within like 30 kilometers, I think, to the finish.
And the race
it was
changed.
80 miles. Yeah,
80K.
And he was joking,
But he did it.
but he did it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And UAE just, cock block anybody that was trying to attack.
Yeah.
They were just said, "Yeah, see ya, go bye."
Building a lead up to over 3 minutes at some point in time, leaving the best in the world not only to fight it out for second place, but to also not so quietly ask themselves. And if you look it up, you can find Tom Pidcock saying actually along the lines of "What the fuck." He actually says
said
it into a reporter's microphone because it's like, wow. Let's get straight to the point. Was this an exciting race to watch? Why or why not? Jackson got a little giddy. Was this exciting for you?
I think this was historical. I don't know if exciting. I don't know. I found it kind of exciting, honestly. I did find it exciting because it was such just a show of like pure brute strength in comparison to just like what I said. It's like it's like men against boys. When he just it really did feel that way though. When you just saw within 14K he carved out almost 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
The attack went and Sepp Kuss was right on his wheel, and you just saw Sepp after about 15 seconds go, nope.
Well, I see. It was really interesting to have Nathan van Hooydonk on as years ago teammate, and he said that he watched Sepp go with it, and then he was like, "There's no chance I can keep this," because Pogacar has that crazy 1 minute power that Sepp just doesn't have. He can't sprint out like that, and it was really. I mean, it was impressive to watch the attack, how he called it, how he just continued to carve and go and go and go and go. I'm gonna say it. I think we're seeing another version of Soretti himself.
It's Merxian.
It's crazy.
Is what he's
That
saying.
attack, certainly, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything about it. And, I wasn't around, plus, well, I was around, but,
Yeah.
we didn't see what he did. But people were getting frustrated because he would win in that type of fashion. And other riders would say, will you just stop and let someone else win? I mean, and they were angry. Some people would get angry. And I think that's, getting back to Nathan Van Hooydonk, that is a great addition.
I love it.
Oh, he was fantastic on
The
the mic.
Eurosport team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, digressing, in my opinion, it was boring because there was no drama. Like if it was anybody else, like even Pidcock, where he attacked on the downhill and stuff, you still thought there was a chance. There was no chance after 14 kilometers. Like it's over unless he has a mechanical and crashes.
Yeah.
That's it.
You almost saw the peloton resign.
Yeah,
Early.
and Pidcock, speaking of Pidcock,
Yeah.
he says it was like we're in the Gruppetto. I mean, everybody was shot. He goes, I was racing like it was 80K to go, and he attacks. I think this is a reflection of the new loop. I mean, the new edition. And I try to hold my reserve to it because they'll do it another year. But like Pidcock said, it'd be one thing to add 30 kilometers if it's a little more flat.
Yeah.
But when you're adding all those hills, it just becomes a race of attrition. And that's exactly what it's not exciting. If they keep that, we're going to have this type, maybe a smaller group if Pogacar doesn't do it again.
Yeah.
It's just you're just going to watch 2, 3, 4 riders, from this Mont Saint Maria.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the new, because the other one was exciting, and it doesn't matter who it was. I mean, obviously that's where you launch off that.
Yeah.
It's what, a 14-minute climb or 14 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Or at least the Mathieu Van Der Poel, Julian Alaphilippe year, where there was that attack going up into the Piazza, which was
Not doing high
super
fives
exciting.
and smiling at the cameras.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just in the way he attacked, even the way he celebrated was just like he knew when he came into that race day that he would win. I said it last week when I looked at the race sheet, I had no doubt. I woke up and I didn't feel any sort of like butterflies or like tension about it because I knew when I saw who was going to cross that finish line, it would be Tadej Pogacar first. He is just one of those riders that just takes away all like the unknown variables.
I don't know if you feel this way. Anybody else wins in that style, I have a tendency not to like them, but I can't help not liking him because he's a nice guy. And not only that, he's not cocky about it. He just loves to race bikes and win. That's all.
Yeah.
And he always congratulates when he loses to the winner. He's gracious. He's a great thing for cycling, I think.
Yeah. David, do you have HBO Max?
No,
Do you have subscription to Flow Bikes?
I do not.
Have you, along with the youths, found this thing called the YouTubes?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you should watch some bike races. Or at least the highlights. The highlights.
Honestly, I didn't even know this bike race was happening.
Really?
I've been in a hole.
Love you, man.
Yeah.
For 9 days, 12 hours?
9/12s. Yep. This was the end of 9/12.
All right.
so
All right. I'll let
I
that
was
go.
in a hole.
Well,
One more thing I would like to say about the men's race. Big shout out to Tom Squeens.
Yeah.
yes.
Great second place for him. I think that he is looking phenomenal. He had 2 flats and a crash with Quinn Simmons and places second. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That was really cool. And then I forget what his name was, but the Lotto Destiny rider who attacked so many times and got third.
Up to Lee.
It's Van Gils or Van Heels.
Van Hills, yeah. Really impressive showing.
That
Yeah.
kid's
From a
going to
guy-
be something.
Yeah, really impressive showing from a guy that you don't really see the name of very often. So, yeah.
Shit, did I throw it away? No, I didn't. The women's edition was also a show of strength, but not so close, with Lotta Kopecky launching a final climb attack to take the win over Elisa Longo-Borghini, Demi Vollering, and Cassia Niemi-Doma. What a top 4, first of all. What a freaking top 4. And I was Vollering and Niemi-Doma. If they would have flip-flopped, I would have picked the top 3. I just want that to be known, just because I want credit for it. But I found this a more enjoyable race to watch. Anybody else? David.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, David's like
Yes,
totally.
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
Are we en route to another dominant SD work season, or for example, Lizzie Deignan was pretty animated at the first part of that race, and she just came back. Lidl Trek seems to have a team worth challenging for something this year, instead of that regular just SD Works domination this year. I mean, hopefully we're going to see some changes there.
It's really hard to say whether that's going to happen because I don't quite think it is.
Yeah.
I think that one, they've got a really sound mind in the car, with Anna Brega there, and then also they're just so strong in numbers. They don't care who wins as long as one of them wins. That's what matters. We always, hear these rumors about how Lana Kopeckis and Demi Vollering have this weird hatred towards one another. I think it's just pure competition in the form of they want to challenge each other.
Yeah.
And the whole team around them is unbelievable. They have the European champion, the world champion, the Dutch champion. They have the Swiss champion. It's crazy the amount of names that are on there. Something that really also showed this weekend was that I think that without this team of SD Works and without a Demi Vollering or a Lana Kopecky, I think Cassia Niwi-Adoma would be a world beater of a rider.
Yeah.
I think we would see a generational talent in her, but we see other
It's not fair.
generational talents in a team unit that can thrive in this setting.
Yeah.
It's not fair because she's great.
I root for her.
The images seeing her on
Big
getting
emotional
fourth.
at the finish. Yeah,
So,
big
yeah.
emotions at the finish.
I think women's cycling, in my opinion, is really going to grow quite a bit. I think just the exposure that it's getting is only going to get more women involved into racing, and then it will be a little more spread out. But even on the local level, and I've mentioned this before, but to see how many, people who registered for the Tour de Bloom drink
Yep.
for the women, beginners, there was 80 some.
Jesus.
So
That's awesome.
you can only hope. But there was some obviously good promotion by Ace, but outside of that, that's great.
That is.
Yeah. So
I think another person that really does deserve, you mentioned her before, but Lizzie Deignan, this is not one, but 2 maternity leaves she has taken.
Yeah.
And she
Really? I thought it
this
was
is-
just her first.
No.
This is her second
second.
time coming back from having a child.
Wow.
That is like a life-altering event, and she's coming back and mix it up at the front of races. And she's even coming up to journalists and saying, "You'll see me back at my best." That is talk about a feat
Driven.
of strength. That is, I tip my hat to that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm rooting for the Lidl Trek colors. I think they got both sides, both teams. I think they put a lot of money into it, and it's no longer the land of the retired. So I think both men's and women's teams are going to be something. In addition, by the way, to this story, the 1-week stage race battle is underway, with Tirreno Adriatico in Italy and Paris-Nice in France splitting the world's best without Tade. I find that interesting. He just chose to kind of I'm going to
Milan San Ramo's coming up.
No.
Save it for that.
Yeah. 2 different camps. So several things are at stake. First, who draws blood first blood in terms of the Grand Tour contenders. Second, how are the sprinters' legs? We did see
Jasper Philipsen.
Jasper Philipsen take a pretty impressive sprint today. And finally, third, what the actual fuck is going on in terms of technical advancements, specifically helmets. So to start this out, either in a promotional push for the upcoming Easter holiday, because they look like peeps, or unintentionally looking like peeps, the Visma Lisa Bike and Giro unveiled their newest time trial helmet design, appeared to be designed by Ridley Scott and Ripley from Alien. So let's address this first. I know Jackson kind of spent a little time on this, and I want to kind of unless you've been asleep or working 12-hour shifts.
But I even
You saw
It's
that.
hard to
Okay.
miss this one.
hard to miss.
So as it is the biggest thing to hit the internet this week. So Jackson, I don't know if you want to introduce this, if you want to roll with something, but I just want to get reactions to this first and go from here.
Yeah, I mean, reaction-wise, Paul, you sent us all a text pretty early in the morning that day that, these first were unveiled. And it's really, really, really hard to not feel as if it was a joke. I genuinely thought.
I thought it was April 1st.
I thought the image that you were sending us was honestly had been photoshopped. It really did look that way with the way that. I was like, oh, this is a joke. This is like I'll kind of get a giggle out of it. And then I tapped on the link and I was like, oh my God, this is real.
Yeah.
And we begin to, fast forward into what it looks like to not care about what you look like anymore. It's really disappointing. I have some images behind me. One of them is obviously the Zero helmet, but we also see S-Works with I think it's called the 3TT. The sock helmet, which Paul, I'm interested to hear what you have to say about it. And then Cask, why do we have to cover up the ears? You look like Toad. We stopped caring anymore.
Yeah.
And time trial, Rudy Project went under the radar, but
that one was bad.
That one was bad.
Oh.
Pox ain't much better.
I'm not saying that.
No, I'm just saying they're all across the board.
We're talking about the new guys in town.
Yeah, Rudy Project. You made a mistake as well.
And camouflaged.
Yeah, why is it camouflaged? I can still see it.
They didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't see them.
And I think, honestly, if you're an EF rider and you see these road Aero helmets, I'm saying it again, road Aero helmets, you deserve to take a stand. If you're being held captive and told to wear these helmets, stop. Because Ben Healy, I love you. You're an amazing rider, and I think what you do is super cool. You look so bad,
especially with the Irish national champion colors on it. It
way
even makes
worse.
It worse.
You included it in the graphics there.
Did.
Yeah.
Have we heard any wind tunnel data on any of these?
Oh, I guarantee there's and that is one of the things I want to get to. And the main topic for tonight is I want to talk about Aero versus fashion. And not necessarily fashion, just common goddamn respect.
I think there's a certain amount of fashion of Aero too that we should talk about, like the fashion of being Aero. That's a thing that people care about, like the looking Aero.
Exactly. Yeah. How far are you guys on board in terms of aerodynamic advantages? Now, I'm going to break it down into different categories as we go tonight throughout the show. But how far are you guys on board in terms of thinking about that? Notice I started the show with how people all have their aerodynamic advantages, except me. Studies show that speeds over 9 miles per hour, aerodynamics are the key thing in slowing us down. Over 9 miles per hour. So how on board or how much are you willing to go? Just give me a generic opening statement in terms of how much you're willing to commit in terms of aerodynamics.
I wear an Aero road helmet. I ride an Aero bike, and I like to wear very form-fitting clothes whenever I ride. So I guess I think about it, but it also needs to be thought about when it comes to comfort as well. I listened to a podcast recently that was saying, I think it's over 4%, anything over 4% in terms of uphill grade within a certain amount of hours while you're riding, it still matters. Yeah. So it's something I do kind of think about.
Mm-hmm. Paul?
I think it is important, without a doubt. Fashion, I'm watching... being around for 40 years of doing this, there's a certain point where it gets, not only is Aero is costly. This is the part that I have a problem with.
Yeah. It's insane.
Like, can you imagine what these things are going to cost?
That's probably a $600 Giro helmet right there.
And
yeah,
it looks ridiculous. And I made, you posted something on Facebook on the Pack Filler podcast page. And
yeah.
I'm tired of defending the sport that I love. This is just totally lunacy. I'm curious about, of course, when I saw that in that picture that's up in the corner of the Giro helmet, I'm thinking, do you remember the Swiss rider, TT guy?
Oh, is
Cancellara?
Stefan Kuhn?
Stefan Kuhn.
Oh, yeah.
I just drew a blank on him. Stefan Kuhn, remember when he crashed?
Yeah.
And his face was just... Poof. And now you look at it, the helmet's there to protect. But when you have these shields and everything like that, they do cut. Yeah. And that's what happens. And I'm thinking, if you go... The first thing that's going to go when you're in the TT and out front, you're face planting. You don't really have time to roll or do anything. what's that going to do? I mean, it's just the thing's sticking out.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because something that was I read that was very integral in the creation of this helmet was the higher visors, so they could actually see more.
Yeah, and safety-wise, but what happens when you do go down?
Oh, you're getting glass all in your eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's not glass. I mean, it's a plastic, and I'm sure it's intended for some sort of an impact. Not just to play devil's advocate here.
But it will it will have jagged edges.
Oh, plastic's still going to break. Yeah.
Because like ready to drink, Roger and his crash, the damage around his eye is from his glasses.
Yeah.
That wasn't the impact of the road. He would have cut his brow, but it was like a lot of damage was from his glasses. Mm-hmm. So I think there is a certain point where the UCI finally, with all the crazy bikes back, with the Lotus bike, and all these people were doing time trials. Do you remember the Pinarello TT that Bjarne Reese rode?
Miguel Indurain did.
Miguel Indurain had one from Pinarello. And they finally said, listen, it's just getting too wild. Just having a standard, let's not get too carried away. Two triangle setup. And I think this is where, if you see the guys in the Giro in their tuck, there's like, you can see where they're coming from, because that front end comes right to their heads.
Probably perfect.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. But when I started, here's my gripe on it. When I started, we had everybody had steel bikes. Everybody had a preference for whatever reason. They all weighed anywhere from 23 to 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. Now it's all about money and cheating and going beyond, not cheating, but it's spending more money, and it takes away the value of when we raced back then. I'm going to sound old.
Well,
but when we raced back then, it was strategy and your training and sacrifice. Now people can cut corners by spending money almost, and I don't like that about that.
Okay, I'm gonna get to that. We are gonna talk about that issue. David, how much do you focus on aerodynamics? Or you have something you want to say?
I have something I want to say. I do focus on aero a little bit. I focus on position because cross-sectional area is the biggest thing in aerodynamics. Obviously, I don't shave my legs. I don't ride an aero bike. I have an Aero road helmet, but it is not stupid looking. It's a normal looking helmet. I'm going to play devil's advocate, though, that in the professional scene, this is what we've always seen. They're always trying to push for the marginal gain with stupid little things, one way or the other. The bike, the helmet, the position, whatever it is. And this is the professional scene. This is probably not going to stay in style. But if that saves 10 watts, 5 watts over a 40K TT, why wouldn't a professional use that? Why wouldn't they all use that helmet? But if I see somebody on the road in that helmet that's not a professional, I'm gonna make fun of them like no other. Yeah. That is not where that should be. But in this is our sport. It's a marginal gain sport. Yeah. I mean, you're coming from a different time, obviously, where it was like steel frames and everybody trains, and it's about different things. But nowadays, it's marginal gains in all respects. People are willing to. It's frustrating when you have somebody who doesn't train and buys all the fancy stuff. But I mean, this is unfortunately the way that it heads.
Those cask mass start helmets are quite terrible.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm getting at. That's the style of Aero. I don't think that actually has an effect. I think that's supposed to look Aero, and people want to look Aero.
It's dumb.
So it's a marketing thing.
Yeah, I think there's a component of it being a marketing thing.
Well, and another thing when it comes to this helmet, too, is that, sure, it might save 5 watts, but it might save 5 watts for Jonas Vingegaard. It might not save 5 watts for Attila Valter, because it all depends on your position.
Jumbo-Visma did not win a time trial in those helmets.
Well,
UAE won all the time trials this week.
Because it all just depends on how you're set up on this bike. If there's a tail that's too high, you're cutting wind. If there's a short tail on a specific rider who can't get quite that low, it's just that might be better for them. It's just all about these different variables. So this helmet might be great for Jonas, but it might be awful for the rest of the team.
Bad shoulders.
I'm also not against professional cycling moving more towards like a NASCAR or setting where like everybody has standardized equipment, like that. Yeah. Like you're saying, that would be nice, but they'd have to do that for everybody.
It won't happen.
I will say that since this morning, the head sock by Specialized has been banned. deeming it, and I quote, unnecessary equipment, end quote. Giro's helmet is being assessed along with Rudy Project's also. I don't know about the status of the POC helmet. They're saying along the lines that helmets are initially supposed to be an item for safety, intended for safety, not for aerodynamic or speed advantage. And who knows if this is true. And second of all, it also has to be something that is available to the public. I think you mentioned that earlier, Paul. So who would wear these helmets besides people who have a successful medical practice and
I would never wear any of these.
I wasn't picking on you. You work in a hospital. You don't have a medical practice yet, do you?
That's fair. You're talking about dentists.
Wait till you get to the wait till you get to the private sector, and then you better be a sponsor. Goddamn
I
it!
would still never wear one of these. It's ridiculous. Those are stupid. It takes away from the purity of the sport.
My other issue, though, here is, I guarantee you, Giro put, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even millions of dollars into the testing, the R&D, the aerodynamic wind tunnel thing of this, and it debuted this week. And because of the uproar, it might get banned this week. What the fuck? What are they going to do? I mean, talk about a huge business-oriented loss. They can't make this available to the public because nobody's going to want to buy it now because they can't use it in an event.
Yeah.
So unless the Triathlon Federation allows it,
which they may, but I've heard kickback even from the tris that say no way.
I want to know the process here. At what point is Giro not connecting with UCI, saying, "Hey, this is our design. This is what we're going to do. We're going to launch it at Tirreno Adriatico. This is our plan." Okay. And then all of a sudden they launch it, and the UCI turns around and says, no? Who's to blame here? Is this just a company going ahead full steam without asking for permission? Or is it the UCI going, oh, we got pushback, we're going to cancel you?
Well, the UCI regulations have been laxed quite a bit over the past couple of years.
Unless you're talking about socks or hidden motors.
Well, yeah, but that's why we see when it comes to Trek, that's why we see that, that cutout on the seat post. That was just a little bit of a relaxation in terms of the bicycle proportions, how they're supposed to be. It's still a triangle, but we do see a little bit of a variation. And so I think this is another part of that UCI rules that's been a little relaxed. We're starting to see the innovation take place, which, mind you, here's my thought on it all, is I think that it's great seeing the work and the progress that has been put into this.
And we can't stop it.
No.
We can't stifle it either.
But I think that the visual aspect of it all has kind of been retracted a little bit or not cared about at all. So that's what this is. Ultimately, it's a company that went, maybe we could ask for forgiveness rather than permission.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they did it, and everybody now knows it, and everybody's probably going to think about Giro. It's honestly, to Giro, who gives a shit if this doesn't last? They now are known as Giro, the company that made this crazy ass helmet, and everybody's going to buy it now because they're on the cutting edge.
We are talking about it.
They're on the cutting edge of aerodynamics.
Yep. No advertising's bad advertising.
Yeah.
I'd put one of those on a shelf. Just saying. I would never put it on my head, but I'd put it on a shelf.
I'd flip it upside down and fill it with chips and nachos.
It'd be a great chip bowl. But,
If my plane was going down, I'd flip it upside down and float to safety.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is
Take my wife out for a nice paddle.
in the old days, nice canoe.
I'd come with more. You give me more time.
We have canoe.
Or they look like peeps, man. It's right in time for Easter.
So the helmet is for protection, and to me that should be the optimum. And,
Yes.
and I'm not saying that's not a safe helmet. I don't know, but the thing is when you the whole rule. The UCI rules are no fairings, no anything. That's why there's used to be 3-to-1. I think they've softened that up for foils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get into recumbents, and you're going to it just alters everything. Now I think we're hitting this point. This is where we're getting to. That's not for safety. That's 100%. That design is 100% for Aero. Not saying it's not safe. It probably is safe because they wouldn't do that. I'm sure it has to be ANSI approved. Or wouldn't be on their head.
Absolutely,
doing that.
yeah.
So and all these, but it's just out of control, and that pushed me to the point where I think TTs were done. If it's going to be all equipment and just no more TTs.
Yeah.
Merc style maybe only.
I think what we're going to also see is as the weather warms, that EF helmet, for example, that POC helmet, that will go away. The CASC helmet will go away because the ventilation issues are still not there.
You
as
will
the
lose
weather warms.
20% of your power if you're overheated. And that's why you see a lot of when
you're seeing it in these spring races.
Yeah, they're like, no, that's not going to happen.
So moving to our topic with aero versus fashion, how far are you on board for aero advantages in the following categories? Okay, so I broke it down into categories. Now, first one is going to be bike. And when I say bike, I'm talking about the frame itself here. According to a recent article in Bicycling, your bike accounts for up to 30% of your total drag, which is significant, especially for riders who don't have aerodynamic postures on the bike, says a doctor, PhD. Aerosports research for Simon Fraser. If you were not particularly flexible or built in any way that you assume the aerodynamic position for very long, having a bike that reduces drag can help make up for that. Such a bicycling article. Jackson, you're the most aero here in terms of your bike design. What is your take on what made you make that decision? I mean, you can't say you feel a difference.
I might disagree on that.
Well, you went from an aluminum brown tube to a carbon higher end bike. I mean, of course there's a difference, but but aerodynamics?
I think in a little bit, yeah. I think when descending, I do feel a little bit of a advantage when it comes to certain situations. I find that sometimes it could be the way that I'm, postured in certain areas or things like that. But I do find that moving from the Trek that I previously had before to the BMC that I have now, when I would get in the same posture and when I would kind of throw the weight forward, it wouldn't excel at the pace that I feel now. So I find it advantageous when it comes downhills. But yeah, it's super rigid is the thing that I think that everybody finds when they ride an aero bike. You kind of feel the road a lot more. Yeah. But do I, feel the aerodynamics coursing through my bicycle frame? Not quite.
The wind stops. It's just you're on your normal bike.
Exactly.
You get on that bike. It's
exactly.
Oh my God! I can. It's like I have a hurricane.
Yeah, I will say I find that it's very snappy in terms of like an acceleration. I know the type of rider I am. I'm not really going to joke myself when it comes to that. So I know that I need that kind of snap in a straight line. So that's why I chose what I chose.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to throw these next two at Paul. Number one, it says studies have shown that disc brakes are more aerodynamic. Factor crap.
That's been. Now it's
this was come to by the way. This study also came by the same people who said that there are kids being sold in the basement of a pizza parlor. Yeah.
Well, what's
to George Clooney?
I will say, what's the date on this though? Because things have changed a lot.
At first, it was not the original design. They're getting better and better on that.
Yeah.
And the last I heard was it's equal. It is equal to rim brakes. And I don't know if they're calculating that because you have to have cable exposed and stuff. That might be part of it too, but it's not more aerodynamic. But I don't think it's a hindrance.
I consider you to be the person who focuses on positioning more than anybody else in this room.
Well, and you can ask different people how much your position is.
It's funny that
can
Sam's
be
not
anywhere
here.
from 80. I've heard 80 to 93% of your CDA is from your position.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even 20, if let's say it's 80, even if it's 70, the one thing, the cheapest thing you can do is get in a more aerodynamic position.
What are the ways in which you focus on it? How do you adjust that? I mean, it's funny that we don't have Sam here, and and David, I'll ask you the same question. In terms of, is it I always have to keep my arms at 90% bend, or
I think for me. And in my position, because as you guys say, I'm pretty low, but I'm extremely limber, and so there's a balance between, and this is where Sam can chime in. He's probably listening, and I should be there.
Yeah.
But if we can't, there's a trade-off between your position and your aerodynamics. If you can't produce watts at an aero position. You just keep getting to the point where you can maintain that
Yeah.
speed. It's all about speed, not so much your watts. Everybody focuses on watts. A race is won by your speed. And if it's low watts and aerodynamics or upright, less aerodynamic, but more watts, it's the speed that everybody should be focusing on. And we're all different. All of us, we ride together. It's interesting to see bar level, and we're pretty much the same height except this guy down here.
Yeah.
And so, Big D. I don't know where that came from, but anyway. But
welcome back, man.
But we're all
back.
about we're six. You and I 6 foot, and then we got some 6 foot with
3,
4,
and
four.
4.
Yeah.
So but if you look, it's just like you have a long body, I have long legs.
Yeah.
My seat's up higher. Our bars are like almost even.
Yeah.
My seat's up here, so it's something that you have. The easy thing to do, in my opinion, is if you have a power meter, go out and test out positions and see what maintain like certain watts and see what your speed is, and hopefully you can hold the fastest speed in that position.
You ready?
4.
You look like you gotta go pee. You gotta go pee?
No.
Okay, you're shuffling in your chair. I'm worried about you.
I'm just excited.
In terms of aerodynamics, I'm gonna speak about leg, arm, and facial hair. According to a study in Outside, the test showed that shaving the test subject's legs reduced drag by about 7%, saving 15 watts at the same speed. In theory, that translates to a 79-second advantage over a 40-kilometer time trial. What are your thoughts on this? And I also want to talk about the fact that you're seeing so many pros in the peloton with facial hair now.
Okay, hang on. You just talked about
Mr. Minimal Gains, marginal gains.
marginal gains. But So you just quoted a study about leg hair and then extrapolated to facial hair because they have looked. There was a.
I jumped to conclusions.
There was a while back they looked at facial hair in the wind tunnel. Specialized did, and they showed no difference between a beard and no beard. But again, it's like what Jackson's saying. Person to person, it's gonna matter. Like it's gonna matter on your positions. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how
big
to
head.
necessarily big head, whatever. But the leg hair thing, I think is pretty standardized because that doesn't really matter with your position. Like everybody's legs are kind of exposed equally. And to
Remco's got fast skin though.
That's true. He does have,
and he shaves.
But if I was racing more consistently with more intent and not focused on trying to take care of other people with my job or whatever that I do, I would be shaving my legs.
You would.
I would. If I was to reverse the clock or to quit medicine and go back to racing, I would shave my legs. Without a doubt.
Your level of competitiveness depends upon your shaving or not. Wow.
Like right now, I'm just not that invested in winning. I just want to go out for a good ride. I want to have fun. To me, I'm not as invested in winning right now. And the burden of shaving your legs all the time isn't worth the aerodynamic advantage that I know is there. I would, if I was trying to race competitively, I would shave my legs.
Do you guys really think that it's 79 seconds in 40K just to have leg hair? That sounds like complete and 100% bullshit.
Cross-sectional area squared. Think of like a small amount
What
of
did you just say?
That aerodynamic.
You having a stroke?
The drag. No, the drag is directly proportional to your cross-sectional area squared. And so if you make your leg a half a centimeter wider on both sides, and then you square it for the entire area of your leg, you have a lot more drag. And your leg, you can't do anything with your position to change how much of your leg is exposed.
That's why Remco's so aerodynamic. He's very short and he's narrow, and that's that cross section.
Yeah, I buy it.
Sounds like malarkey.
Still not gonna shave.
Anybody else want to comment on hair before I switch to the next category?
I don't have any.
Okay. Kit, to skin suit or not skin suit. According to the same article, 10% drag versus a flapping jersey. 2 minutes, they are saying, in a 40K TT. 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now, I tried on our fit kit that was sent to us today. I'm going to be open and present everybody with the two sizes I tried on. I tried on, and Jackson was in the room, and he at no point did he where's my screen? I'm really bad on the sound effects today. Fuck. Anyway, he at no point in time did he let out a scream. So I tried on the extra large, and it fit okay. It fit tight.
Fit well.
Yeah. I tried on the double XL, and it fit
well,
almost the same.
Nearly exactly the same.
And that's so...
Was it longer sleeves?
I'm going to be honest. Mm-hmm. I didn't really see that much of a difference.
I didn't either.
Did you feel any sort of difference?
You want to know the funny thing? The difference I felt was in mental comfort.
Then that's what really matters more, honestly.
Because I fat shame myself.
Yeah.
I do it. I've done it on this podcast for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like, oh, God, if I'm at the pub, people will see my belly.
Wait,
and that's when I'm going to wear my jerseys.
Sure. Is that the pub?
What? Well, all around, everywhere. But, I might end up at the pub after a bike ride.
Most days.
Yeah. So, but really, you think it's that dramatic of a difference? Yeah. And now our new kit also has that ventilated shoulder. Do you think that's an intention to provide aerodynamic advantage with that?
Are they like dots? Or
no.
Are they lines? Or?
It's like a cross pattern.
It's a little bit like
a diamond pattern.
I would say about quarter size circles, but in terms of like ventilated fabric that they create. Yeah.
Kind of almost a covered mesh.
Yeah.
So that's to create current inside so the air's in there, so it's kind of tripping the air a little bit. So that's what it's like a golf ball is what it's doing.
It's sure. Yeah. It's cooler.
I will say though, I think on kit, I think that it is this is, I think, one of the bigger ones you can really make an advantage in is well-fitting skin suits are genuinely like a large advantage when it comes to a certain distance because we see like the no pins people create their skin suits for their athletes that they are trying to compete, and it is like a much bigger advantage than it comes to just like a night before yellow jersey skin suit. It's a big deal. And jersey and shorts, I will say, as comfortable as they are, they do make a marginal difference. Probably more than a marginal difference when it comes to skin suit or not.
I'm such an amateur ranked cyclist that I'm still comfort over fast when it comes to a kit.
I've always had I want to feel fast.
Yeah.
And to me, that's like tight fitting in a crit, long sleeve skin suit. Even on a 100-degree day, I would wear a long sleeve skin suit in a crit. I want to feel fast, and I don't know if that's a mental thing or it genuinely probably does have some marginal gain.
For sure.
Probably like that helmet, just saying. And that's the kind of stuff we waste time and money on is like these tiny little gains that we're getting from not having loose-fitting clothes. And
the industry just knows we're going to eat it out.
They know it.
Yeah. Last but not least, of course, wheels. The thoughts about I'm going to get to the thoughts, especially when it comes to this trend with hookless wheels that is very much in the news. But it's saying 48 seconds in a 40K TT. A set of wheels is 48 seconds, but a kit is 2 minutes. Are you shitting me?
No, I don't know. Is this
it depends
from
on
the same
wheels.
People?
Yeah.
I don't know where they're getting their resources from.
Hey, I did my research.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you look at cross-sectional, it depends again on like the course itself. Because if you're looking at aerodynamics on a wheel, the widest point is the tire, and the only thing that your wheel's doing is affecting the current as it flows over the tire and through your frame. And it's probably not as big of a deal as some like small sail that's sticking out the side of your jersey. So I mean, when it comes to crosswinds, that's different because they're doing the wheel designs with the little dots from Zip or the yaw angles or whatever that is. That I don't really follow that very closely, but those can make a difference in crosswinds. But I'm sure they're looking just at like a regular old TT with like a headwind or no wind. And in that case, I can't imagine it makes that big of a difference. based off the frontal cross-sectional area.
I really want to know when Pro Cycling, who is focusing on all of these aerodynamic advantages, is going to pull their head out of their ass and stop making riders pin numbers onto their jerseys.
But they used to have the little clear sleeves, and the UCI banned that.
The most archaic method of keeping track of riders on the planet. We have a probably billion-dollar industry, and these guys are still being given paper or fabric numbers to put on the back of their $10,000 kits.
Speaking of that,
Fucking idiocy.
I've got a little bit of beef with local races. Why is it? I know it's for camera availability in a lot of cases, for finishes. But why can't we also put our numbers on our pockets, like the pros do?
Because the most photo finish cameras are to the side.
I know. I just think it's. I'm going to say right now, we all four know that there's more technology out there than a.
But the average race promoter can't afford anything beyond. And that's the problem.
Yeah,
you're talking about you're just talking about money. And
I just think
that
it's
problem. No, it sucks.
It goes back to the archaic way of.
It sucks
the
ass
whole
that we
sport
have to
working,
put them on
so-
our solar plexus back here, and that's where.
But then if it's not perfect, it'll be flopping. But then if it's digging in, it sucks.
Did you fold that number?
I hate it.
Did you crumple it before you put it on there?
I always do.
Disqualifying.
Yeah,
100%. And I think in the pro ranks, riders their numbers should be assigned to them for the year, and it should be on their kit.
Yeah.
As a part of the actual sublimation of the kit, the number is on there. It's always on there. Every kit. I saw guys with gilets on this because it was cold, and the EF guys had their vests pulled up over their numbers so people could read their numbers.
They were getting stuff out of their pocket. I saw them too, and they pulled them back down.
I saw some guys who rode it extensive amounts of time with it up.
Really?
I'm assuming it's because they need me. I could be wrong, but what I'm saying is, why not print the numbers for the entire season? Everybody knows that EF number 1 is Ben Healy. EF number 2 is blah blah blah. You can have multiple number 1s, number 2s, number 3s, but if the kits are different, it doesn't matter. Ineos number 1 is Philip Ogana. Ineos number 2 is Egan Bernal. And that's just for your year. It's like football. It's like any other sport. Give the rider a permanent number and quit this bullshit where they got to have a different number for every race. It's the dumbest thing that we are still in the Stone Age on. And when you're talking about aerodynamics and hundreds of millions of dollars being spent on riders, and they've got this on their back of their back, it's negates everything. Morons. Follow me. So I do want to step back to wheels here, especially when the incidents of Robert DeHint,
Thomas
DeHint, dealing with this hookless issue. And wheels, tires, hookless, non-hookless. And Jackson and I were actually talking about it before we went on, and I want to pretend that I know what I'm talking about here, but I kind of don't. And I asked Paul to kind of take the helm on this in terms of, first of all, what does hookless mean? And talk to me as if I'm a 54-year-old dipshit. And...
Hey, isn't that your age?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to like a standard clincher rim, or a car rim. Define what the hookless concept is and why it exists.
Well, to make the separation, what do they call it? Straight. There's a term that the industry uses, straight wall or straight. I can't remember whatever it is. So there's no little bubble. If you look at a standard clincher, there's a little notch at the top that hooks that bead of your tire on there. The reasons follow why the industry did that was it cuts the weight considerably, and also it cuts the production cost quite a bit.
Yeah,
way down.
Great.
So, but
hookless does, right?
They're win for win. So they're going to pass that on to us, right? It's going to be cheaper. You're going to get. They can spend more time on getting more aerodynamic wheel. It's lighter and it costs less. I mean, that's the idea behind that. The problem is this trend, in my opinion, and listening to several different podcasts and doing some reading, is that this push to get with a wider tire because it's more, it's more comfortable and faster, less rolling resistance. What was happening is the standard for us, like when we grew up, is I think 19 millimeters. The inside, we're going to focus on the inside of the rim from inside to inside. And then, tubeless came out, and the wider you go, the more support you can have. You don't want that light bulb thing for aerodynamics. Sure. And the drawback too is like the wider. So everybody want to go wider because it's more less rolling resistance, less tire pressure, is more comfortable, and that is all true. But the weight of that tire, one thing people don't understand, is the wider and bigger that tire, the heavier that tire gets. So acceleration has been, in my opinion, has never been equated. You look at all these tests, it's like, my tests, we're just going down a straight line and stuff. Yeah, it's faster. But our race, especially in crits, you think about how many times you accelerate, and you get weight on a wheel is huge, that rotating weight. I think that's something that's never really been challenged when it comes with bigger tires.
Rotational mass.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a huge thing. So what you start looking at the trends and back when Pat and I were big into it, we called it the Sharpie period with pros. Tire companies had their sponsored teams and wheels and bikes. And if somebody rode a saddle that wasn't sponsored, they'd take a Sharpie and black out the label. And because everybody was different. But I don't think, because the money involved right now, and we'll look at Thomas DeGant, who rides, they have Zip wheels and Vittoria tires. They're trying to figure out a standard for, and we're going back to hookless here, what size hookless with the entire interior diameter. So 25 millimeters is what they're running, and hookless, Zip is 100% in with hookless. And they have a 25 centimeter inward, inner diameter.
Yeah.
Or spacing. So what they did was put a Vittoria 28 on there. And it's, I think it's the ISO who regulates what you should do. And if you look on there, it says the minimum is 29 is what you need to put on there. Pros are hanging around that 28 C tire, but if you blow it up in a 25, that's going to be pretty close to a 30. So technically it's wider. And if you look at the video, and I've watched it, he's just going down the road and the thing just pops right off. It blows off.
Yeah.
So I think we have a situation here where manufacturers are kind of pushing their items, and kind of like what we were talking about, the helmets.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about this is, I think anybody who has a hookless, mainly hookless, and I'm not totally against tubeless. I think it's good in some applications in some areas, But the thing is you got to go to your manufacturer and research. So you got a flat the other day with Sam, and Sam goes, "Here, that's why I don't like Continentals. They're always flat." And I've had great luck. And it's like, so you've never flatted, so that's fine. But so anyway, we have our preferences, but these rim manufacturers don't, they're trying to, tires and rim guys are trying to get together, so what works for what. Yeah. And when you have a hookless, here's the other thing about hookless, in order to get that tire in there, if you use levers and stuff, you can damage it. It's not as reinforced. You can damage that rim. There's a potential problem.
So people should be, the average Joe who's sitting there going, I have a hookless setup, they should be on their manufacturer's websites trying to find tables to find out what tire combination they should be on, what pressures they should be running.
Yeah. And here, you're exactly right. I mean, if you have MV wheels, you have Zip, if you have Cadex, all those are running for sure, a lot of hookless. My opinion is you should go to their site and say, what do you recommend? And they have tire pressure too, because that's very vital also.
Yeah.
So,
shit.
But that, and I started thinking about this.
Whatever happened to just air it up and go?
This is where I'm going with this.
It's really dangerous.
And so the problem is the razor's edge, and for 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 professionals, the thing is they're always trying to get the cutting edge, and I think that our industry is trying to push. Don't you want to be like a pro? You can be faster and beat your guy to the cafe or whatever. There's too many variables when somebody's like, no, I like Continentals. My buddy's riding a Continental. I want some. A bike shop, what are they going to do? Say, okay, what rims are you using? Let's go check the chart. Let's make sure we got, or they buy it online. Where's the catch? These people are putting wrong size tires, pumping up the wrong tire pressure. And
I'm guilty of that. I'm still doing too much.
Well, Liv Jayco is on tubulars now, the Wins team. And they said, we've decided to go back. Now, this is a 100-year technology. The thing is we've decided that it's safer. If they get a flat, they can still ride and not have a problem.
Yeah.
Now, these inserts are supposedly so you can ride, but I don't know if it's working with hookless. There's just too many questions, and I know the UCI is looking into it right now.
I think hookless will die for one reason, and that's tire pressure. They put the limit of 72 psi on there because the issue with hookless
that's
is that
maximum.
That's maximum.
Yes,
and
you cannot go past that.
According to the Silca tire program, I should be riding on the road at about 90.
So the way you get around
so
that,
I can't ride that.
Not tubeless.
Is a wider.
Are you on tubeless though? Did you put in that?
I don't remember.
But the way you get around it, and the way they want you to get around it, is a wider tire. So you go wider, lower pressure. Unless the pro peloton's willing to start riding 32s, 34s, it's not going to work. The hookless technology is the applications in which it works. Mountain bike tires, some gravel, car tires are hookless because you're running 30 psi. In road, we're running such small tires, you'll never be able to get away with the pressures that we need. And the manufacturing tolerances, like you're saying, between the manufacturer of the wheel and the tire, they're not going to be able to sync up. And so you're going to have people that are trying to run like a 28 with the maximum amount of pressure because they don't want to run 50 psi or whatever. And it's just not going to work. I don't think that hookless works for road. I think that the hook is a safety mechanism, and the biggest reason we're seeing it pushed is the cost. It's because it's cheaper to manufacture. It's not because it's actually any better. So there was somebody put them in a wind tunnel, and the aero advantage that they claim is not there. They're actually not that much more aero, or it's not significant enough to make a difference with a hookless versus a hooked rim. So it's just the fact that it's cheaper.
And lighter.
And it is a little bit lighter. But you would have to have a heavier tire with a heavier bead.
And then it's negated.
Right.
And same with the inserts, too. Your roll resistance.
And to add in the sealant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm feeling bamboozled.
We're getting bamboozled by hookless.
Hoodwinked.
Keep it on the car.
Flim-flammed. Wow. Okay. Good talk. Let's jump to our segment for tonight. David hasn't been with us for a while, so we haven't had the chance to hear his own personal theme song. But first, this segment is brought to us by Untapped Maple. Pure energy by way of pure Vermont maple syrup. Great all around. Trust us. So let's play. Oh, come on, Pat. Professional, my ass.
How long have you been doing this?
Ask Dr. David tonight's question for David. Is regarding lactate training. I keep thinking of lactate training, and I'm going old school on this. So my brain is wrapped around ancient methodology or whatever I'm trying to talk about. So how important is it? Why is it even a thing? And can a person change how they process lactate? That was the question proposed to you.
Yeah.
How do you dance around this one?
I deal with lactate every day.
Really?
Yes, for infection, for people who are septic.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a big.
So it's a little bit of a change of gears when we're talking about lactate and exercise, but it's the same concept. I'll start by saying lactate is produced from anaerobic exercise, where your energy needs exceed that which you can do with just the oxygen and energy in your cells. So you're in an anaerobic state, and as a result, you produce lactate. Normal lactate's less than 2. Really, in all of us sitting here, it's probably like 1. So the idea of lactate threshold is somewhat
Yeah.
variable. The way to identify that is you have to do these serial lactate tests while you're ramping up your heart rate and power.
God, I have horror memories of that.
Did you
Paul, I
guys
don't know
used
about
to
you,
do
dude.
it?
No.
Oh yeah, they'd prick your blood
Prick
every.
in the earlobe.
Mine was my finger.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I am genuinely a little curious. So they would measure your lactate, and then they would tell you like this heart rate probably is your lactate threshold.
You would. Yeah. I
And
think so. Jesus, man, so long ago. I feel like I was rat in a cage.
so what that's reflecting is your ability to. It has to do with the production of lactate and the clearance of lactate. So how much you're making and how much you can get rid of. So you can change your lactate threshold by changing one of those two variables. How much you produce has to do with your aerobic ability. That's the kind of training you do below threshold. So that has to do with like doing your zone 2 training that you might do for 60, 70% of the time, or the clearance of lactate. That has to do with what you're doing. Your like zone 4 or 5 training where you're interval training, high intensity interval training. So you can increase your ability to clear it by doing HIIT training, and you can increase or you can decrease the production by doing aerobic training. Now, in terms of utility, it's difficult to obtain. You have to get a lactate meter, so you have to do finger sticks. You're probably going to have to routinely test this, like on a trainer where you prick your finger, you're monitoring your heart rate, you're trying to generate your own graph. And then you identify essentially probably a heart rate that correlates with when your body produces too much lactate, like more than it can clear.
Mm-hmm.
And so it starts to accumulate, and that's when you fatigue past the point that you can continue your effort. That's a lot of effort, especially in the day of power meters, where you can hop on a trainer with a power meter and do a Zwift, Trainer Road, Ruvi training session, and it will give you an estimated FTP. I think it's important to point out that an FTP is pretty similar to a lactic threshold. Apparently, they're not completely similar. Your FTP is probably a little bit higher because that's your hour-long effort.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sustain that for an hour, and you're probably going to be slowly accumulating lactic acid throughout that hour. So theoretically, your lactate threshold would probably be like 5 to 10% lower than your FTP. So I'm not sure the utility of lactate threshold, especially in your 99% of cyclists category. Now, in your 1%, the people that are in the tour, they might have some sort of training specialist that can go through it with them routinely and check their lab work and like guide their training based off of it. But I think I tend to lean towards power nowadays. Like power is, you can train at your FTP. You can use training plans based off of your FTP, which is more readily assessed, and it's easier to get an idea of what's going on because heart rate is, again, so variable based off of stress. Like you can put out 150 watts and have a heart rate of 150, or you can have a heart rate of 90, depending on what else is going on in your life. So, to me, I probably would not invest in a lactate monitor, the blood monitor, and go through the effort for 99% of the population. If you have a coach who wants to take you through it, that's great. And if you want to improve your lactate threshold for whatever reason, focus on aerobic and HIIT training. That's how you change that.
Can genetics have any bearing on somebody's process, a lactate process of disposing and stuff? So that's something you couldn't alter anyway.
So I think that certain people, your genetics is going to determine a baseline amount, like a range of how well you could process lactate, trained or untrained. So take Tade, untrained, he's probably going to process lactate better than any of us. He's probably
gauntlet thrown. Bring it, bitch.
Untrained, he's still going to be better than us.
Yeah.
But he probably also has the ability with training to exceed, like to push that lactate threshold. So that it's definitely going to be a genetic thing that you are, able to push that threshold based off of your genetics. Just like some people are able to push their FTP or their VO2 max based on there's a genetic component for sure, but it can also be advanced by training. Yeah.
My VO-Max was tested when I was really young, and it was super high. And I'm never going to have it tested again because I just want to live off of that number.
It's
You
probably
should
smart.
have it tattooed on your
Yeah.
forehead.
Yeah, it was just like, dude, you're like on next Le Mans. And I'm like, you're damn right I am.
Damn right.
Well, I'm going to go piss it away with beer and
Hold my beer. I'll show you.
See my lactate threshold. You guys did that growing up? They would. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was a
Several-
big thing in the
couple times a
80s.
year.
Yeah. Oh,
What
I
did
only
they
had it
set-
once.
Did
done
they
once.
tell you
Oh,
what
I
they
would.
set the threshold? Like, was it when you exceeded 2.5 or what? Did
I was
they
in a
tell you?
lab. It was actually a study for a lady with the doctorates, and
Yeah.
she was. So we did Wingate and VO2 max.
Always
and
did
we had
VO2s,
we had a study
yeah.
group of 10, and so they had 5 subjects do the Wingate first. You know what Wingate is?
No.
So Wingate is like you sprint, and then there's a constant drag to the point where you just can't. You're just going,
Yeah.
and then and it determines your power.
Yeah.
Sub maximum power and stuff. And then they did VO2, which is that. Have you been through VO2?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's basically
Breathing
the same.
into this huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
At
can't
first
move
you're like,
on
I
the
can't
bike.
breathe.
Yeah,
These valves, and pretty soon you're like,
yeah,
are these
yeah,
closed?
yeah,
I can't
yeah,
breathe.
Yeah,
But
it's terrible.
yeah. But so she did her study, her doctorate. So she grabbed 10 riders, and what she did here in Spokane, and then they tested all these factors, and with Wingate coming first, and you had like a 10-minute break. You stayed on the bike, the erg at that time, and then they switched you from Wingate to VO2 max, and then the other group was VO2 max to Wingate, and then we came back for another session. We had her body fat checked and everything, and she, for a thesis, was trying to guess, if the VO2 max or your Wingate would change based on those two. If you're
Interesting.
and so that's the only time I had the testing.
This is why VO2 max isn't everything though, because if
Yeah.
you clear lactate better than somebody else, your VO2 is going to be less important,
And
and vice versa.
And the proof of that was Nitz, the Nitz kick.
Yeah.
He had a low VO2 max, and this is in the 80s, and the guy was a unbelievable sprinter.
He probably cleared lactate like.
I
no
love
other.
you guys to death, but do you know how many listeners we probably lost
Yeah.
in the last 5 minutes? You guys just nerding out over there.
Oops.
Oh well.
Yeah, I had some recommendations, but my pack filler picks, but I'm gonna save them for next week. I do have one of them that I'm going to share with you guys tonight, and this might hopefully doesn't require too much visual. One of my and this is going to be the final question mixed with pack filler picks tonight. I on a whim purchased a pair of glasses this last week, and I'm talking about cycling glasses. I purchased the Tifosi Rivet Phototech readers
Good Lord.
for $79.95.
Bifocals?
Can I ask a really important question here?
Yes.
Are they transition lenses?
What?
Are they transition lenses?
They are transition.
All right.
They're
For how much? The trans.
$79.95. These change color as the light affects.
That's what these
They go
And
to a
they're
red.
bifocals.
And they are bifocals for $79.95. I fully expect to be let down, but as a person of advanced years,
Clearly.
I can't see my computer many times if I don't wear contacts, and I have a tough time with contacts. You can laugh all you want, motherfucker, but this is life here. So, number one, I would like you to, if you would like to, first of all, see me in them.
Yeah. Go grab a helmet. Let's see what it looks like.
See me in them.
Uh-huh.
Can you see the bifocal line? You can now because they're cold. They're
No, I actually
because
can't.
It's-
they're clear.
I can't see it from
And I'm fully inviting you to all try them on. Now,
No, I can see him.
what my question? Wow, I can kind of read the paper. In front
Is
of me.
this
Yeah.
for your garment?
My question is, Dork, would you and should I
I would say you
Anybody
should.
wanna try
You
'em?
should.
Yeah.
try them on? See what they feel like.
Yeah, I want to.
Paul, especially you.
Yeah.
You're anti-sunglass
Yeah, I hate getting sweat in my.
Why does it make everything blurry?
because you have normal eyes.
You don't have those,
asshole.
that magnification.
You ageist prick.
And these are probably not even strong enough. For
That's
me.
a 2.0 magnification. You can change the amount of magnification.
That helps. That's. Can you read
Well,
that?
lift your head like a
That's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So this is just plain up here.
Top is nothing. Bottom is just the magnification.
So it's so you can read your garment.
Yeah.
That's
I would.
excellent.
I would if you're
look at 'em.
glassware.
Are they dorky?
These are trifocals.
Are they dorky? Mine are too. The glasses I'm wearing now. No, they're not. Mine are bi, but focals.
Okay, I actually have.
Would you wear them?
I have a pair
Just
of.
this style.
I have a pair of similar looking photo transitional lenses, and they are useful, especially if you guys remember I was doing a lot of evening riding like after work this fall.
Yeah.
And I would wear the transition lenses so that I could wear a pair of glasses and finish after dark.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was nice. Same with those evening gravel races I did. Bifocal clearly is not for me.
Well, yeah, because you're young and you're still thinking life's going to
So
go on forever, and
No
your heart
comment.
hasn't given up, and your
Give it
shoulders
30
haven't gotten
years where I'm at.
No comment there, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
Jackson,
you do you.
you've been smiling like the Cheshire Cat over there for about the last 20 minutes.
He doesn't like him.
Dipshit? Dork?
I think that if they are I think if they're the right frame for you and the right lens for you, then
That's
I think
what I'm
you
asking.
might as well
I'm asking.
make
Is
it
this
happen.
the right look?
He's trying to be diplomatic.
go
here.
grab the helmet you're gonna wear. Let's see what it looks like.
Is
No,
this
it's the middle one.
the
It's
middle one?
Middle one.
Is this a dipshit look?
No.
Because I'm
I
gonna be
don't think
honest.
so.
There's not a single.
Don't you mess my helmet up.
There's not going to be a single pair of cycling glasses that look good without a helmet.
Really?
Amen.
100%.
Amen
Yeah.
to that.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of true. Yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
They're all dumb.
Thank you. Get him on the outside of your straps.
Did I?
Other way. No. Yeah,
Come on.
Come on. Let's get that thing on there. This
So,
is
morning
great,
ride,
great
evening
podcast
ride.
stuff.
Morning
yeah.
ride, evening ride, 100%. If you're wearing those in the middle of the day, maybe a little funky.
It's not for me.
Be honest.
It's not.
I'll throw them in the dump heap and just look at
No,
my
no, no,
computer
no, no,
once
no,
I get
no.
to the pub.
No. I think that if they are, because like I very much preach. I feel like in my segment that I think that if you vibe with them and you love them, that's what matters to you.
Don't be neutral.
I will
Don't
never wear
play
those
the
glasses in my life. I
You-
don't like
okay.
I don't like a middle bar. I don't like the nose
This is
piece
the
in
guy
the
who
middle.
wants the Oakley thing going over his nose.
Well,
too,
I
though.
like those cutting edge type of styles,
Yeah.
you know. So I do like what Gooder puts out. I like
They-
that
with
middle.
They
headphones?
probably look they probably
Nice.
look better once they get dark too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just
because they do get a red mirrored
yeah.
image. Too.
I'm just not super, like I said, super fond of a middle bridge.
I mean, to what
Is this old guy?
Yeah.
It's too old guy.
I don't know if it's too old, guy. You got to rock with what you like.
No,
To that
I
point,
like
Thomas
what people
Guerin.
think I look cool
Yeah,
in.
Garen Thomas. Yeah, it's I think it's great. Rock what you got. You know.
You bought them, try them out.
He's
Yeah.
being
When
s-
people start pointing and laughing, just throw them in the garbage.
I will.
All
Yeah.
He's being so neutral that I just want to smack him. No, man. Whatever works
I'm
for
voting
you, Dad.
independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all know where I lie on this.
Yeah, and then he's going to
spectrum
leave
of
and he's
it.
going to go home to his wife and go, holy shit.
You should see
My dad is so old.
I'm not riding with him anymore.
Yeah.
He's going to wear those stupid glasses.
Yeah. I just honestly saw him and I was like, I got to bring him home. I got to see what they look like. But I want to see him under full sun so they're like mirrored out.
I think Tifosi is a great brand for the accessibility in eyewear,
Yeah.
in performance eyewear. So I give them that.
You're so neutral. It just drives me crazy. I swear to God. I need calming music.
This is the best outro.
I didn't get anything from you guys.
Do you
Paul
want
was neutral.
Do you want it real?
Yeah. Throw them away.
You really want it like super real?
I want real.
raw.
Honest-
He wants it raw.
Honestly, I feel like you could throw like a good heater in the middle of July. You know, just show up, dip in your lip, and just.
So they look like vipers. They look
Just-
like pit vipers.
No. Just
no,
you're like
talking about going
you're
for a
pushing
rip.
your 60s, and you could just fucking rip one of those in at home plate.
Yeah.
I'm
I think
so
what it
like
is-
like a douchebag baseball guy.
They look
No.
a little baseball-y.
redneck.
Oh my
You know,
I need a red
you smoke
hat.
a dart. You go for a rip, man.
And you call them
You know?
darts.
I need a red hat.
Yeah.
No, I don't know about Red Hat, but
Thanks for being with us on this audio bike ride. Man, that was bad. Be sure to and subscribe to our YouTube channel and the podcast on your chosen audio feed, and drop us a review should you feel like adding some input, like my panel won't give me until the end. Toss them, right?
No.
Can you
Keep 'em.
not
Wear 'em.
return
Keep 'em.
them?
Wear 'em.
Jesus, why do we have to be so wasteful? Can you just return them?
No.
Get your money back? Somebody else could buy them?
Catch you next week.